Hello, I'm Mike and welcome to Camden Garden Centre. I'm going to give you some help with some gardening advice. What you'll need is a begonia, and this is a beautiful begonia called Begonia Rex, the king of begonias, and it's grown for its astonishingly coloured foliage. You'll also need some fertiliser and some gravel, or as I'm using here, hydraulica. We'll need a saucer as well and a source of water. Okay. Now, first of all, I'm going to remove some dead or tired leaves from the plants. And if I turn it around here, it's important to know that with begonias, they rot off very quickly if you don't handle them properly. And when you remove a dead leaf, do not do that, because that stalk that's left there will rot, and when it rots right down into the heart of the plant, there's a danger it will kill off the whole plant. So the way to remove the leaves is to remove it from its point of origin, which is deep in here, and it should just snap off. Okay, and now I'm not leaving any plant stem there to rot away. So you need to just go through the entire plant and find any damaged things like that. Okay. Next, I'm going to feed the plant, and here what I'm using is a controlled release plant food tablets. And as you see on the packet here, this lasts for 6 months. Now, house plants don't need feeding in the winter months, so if you apply these in April time, then throughout the growing season, when the plant's actively growing, then every time you water the plant will be fed by these pellets. If you look on the back of the packet, it tells you how many tablets to use depending on the diameter of the pot. And this pot is about 15 centimetres diameter, so I'm just going to use one of these tablets. The fertiliser is coated with this brown resin, and when you water the plant, the water passes through this resin coating, dissolves the fertiliser inside the pellets, and then the fertiliser leaches out of the pellets and feeds the entire root zone of the plant in a controlled manner. They're very easy to apply. You simply make a hole in the compost, about 1 inch deep, pop in the fertiliser tablets, and then cover it with soil, and it's as simple as that. I'm now going to water the plant, and it's very important with begonias that you use tepid water. Okay, so this is water that's been left to stand for several hours in this watering can to reach room temperature. When you water a plant, you make sure that you put sufficient water in for the water to wet the entire root ball of the plant. Don't put little bits of water on a regular basis, because if you do that, you'll be just wetting the upper root zone of the plant, and the rest of the root zone will be left dry. So when you do water, water thoroughly. So that's one lot of water I've put in, let that drain through, and then apply some more. And I can hear the water now starting to drain through the drainage holes at the bottom of the container. So that's telling me that the water's passed right through the container. And as you can see here, surplus water's draining away. It's important to let that water drain away till it stops dripping before you replace it on its plant saucer. Now, begonias like humid conditions, but they don't like having water on their leaves. Some of this damage here is because water's been allowed to lie on the edges of the leaves and it's rotted the leaf off. So the way you create humid conditions and yet avoid getting water on the plant is to stand the plant in a saucer that's got either gravel or this hydraulica. Hydraulica is a form of clay that's been baked in ovens, so it's porous and it's capable of absorbing a lot of water. Now, this plant is going to stand on the hydraulica, but it's not going to have water reaching the drainage holes in the bottom of the container. So I'm going to put some water in here. And that water will be absorbed by these granules, and the plant can stand on top of that, and the water will evaporate from these granules, creating a nice humid microclimate around the plant. At the same time, the plant's not actually standing in water. Don't let begonias stand in water, because you will lose the plant if that happens. The plant will just rot, the roots will rot. Okay, so keep looking out for any damaged leaves at the base of the plant. Turn it around. They do produce flowers. You can see a little flower coming here, but the flowers are not terribly significant. This plant is grown for its very handsome foliage, as you can see. And that's how to care for a begonia.